Well, massive class of defensive backs. What was the goal going into this class?
To get more athletic and more physical in the back end, and I think we did that with this group. We got a lot more speed. We got more athletic and we got more physical. And so obviously you got to get those kids here and see what they can do. But we were happy with what we saw on film and watching those guys live.
Numbers-wise, and trying to play with 5 defensive backs, just playing catch-up a little bit, trying to get back to where you need to be on the roster?
Yeah, the numbers were down. Obviously, we've had injuries. You have guys leave the program. You have guys graduate. So, we knew going in that we had to sign a lot of DBs. And the one thing about it is that we told these kids that we needed DBs. And so, a lot of these kids are competitive, and they knew how many guys we wanted to bring in. And so it's exciting when you look at the group that you got. And obviously, we got to get them and see what they can do in August.
What was your target number? How many did you think coming into this class you needed to get?
8. 8 is what we wanted to do. And obviously, if we could have got a 9th, there was a possibility for that. We would have taken it, but 8 was the number.
When you look at what you're able to do, how does it match with what you set out to do?
I think we hit it. I think we hit the nail on the head. We went after some guys that we really, really wanted, that we identified early. Guys play offense, and guys play different spots, but we were able to see those guys live and feel like they have the ability to play DB if they don't. And the guys who obviously played a lot of DB, we love them as well.
What sort of key traits do you look for in a defensive back? Is there any sort of requirements that you have? I mean, what do you really look for when you're recruiting these guys?
Number one, I want physical players, and so I want guys that can come in and be physical. We're going to be a physical defense, and that's just that's who we are. And number two, you want guys who can change direction and put their foot in the ground. And so you see a lot of these guys are able to, what I call a burst. They're able to put their foot in the ground and show a burst and change speed. So excited about them.
A lot of these guys, have played some wide receiver or a lot of wide receiver, or maybe even more wide receiver than cornerback. How do you, identify with some of those guys that, hey, I think that guy can, if he, he's full cornerback full time or safety full time, it's going to work out there?
You identify the movements that they have, and so we watch them do different things with their bodies, flip their hips, put their foot in the ground, and change direction. And so we feel like those kids have the ability to do it. And obviously we know that we got to, groom them and get them where we want them to be and develop them. But we feel like they have all the traits to make them very successful.
I mean, like you said, there's probably opportunity for some of these guys to play because of just numbers-wise. How many do you need? I mean, you've only got 8 or 9 right now. How many do you need to have ready to go into a season to be able to play?
You'd always, I think, want 13 to 14, because that gives you 2 full sets and some other guys, because obviously you're going to have injuries. But, if you look at a season like last year, we didn't have that many. And not saying that last year was what we're hunting, but you obviously want to be able to have, a couple different guys in case you have some guys go down, they can step up and give you some depth.
Does any one of these guys, from an athletic standpoint, just get you really excited that you see something in him that you just kind of get giddy over?
All of them. I think they all do different things, and so if you look at them, they're all different, but they all bring things to the table that we really look for. So truly, I'm excited about all 8 of them. I know Coach Yates is as well, and I think Bronco Nation will be happy if these kids come in and buy in and develop. The one thing obviously is you see their high school highlights and you see those plays, but we have to get them, we have to get our hands on them and see what they can truly do in this system.
To bring in 8 in one time, how important was it to get it right? I mean, you're going to live with this class for quite a while.
Yeah, you're going to live with it. And the number one thing, like I said, we were hunting physical and athleticism, and I think we got that. And then we got great kids. If you look at these guys, Cam Miles, you got guys like Cam Miles that's already on campus. You got guys like Ray Ford, and I'm out there watching those guys run in the rain the other day. And they've been in school for 2 weeks, and they're high-fiving guys. They're coming in from the run. So we got a great group of guys, and I know, they're going to come in and they're going to gel well together and going to push each other.
What was the last 48 hours like with Horton?
It's one of those things. I think the one thing, like I said, about Tyler is been recruiting him a long time, and the kid held strong. Obviously, you get schools like Florida and Miami and things like that throw their name in the hat. But, he called me every time. He told me exactly what was going on. He pulled a little bit of a prank on me today that I'll get back to him first day of practice. I'll leave that between me and him, but it was all good.
Did you see the picture from the signing ceremony where we had the 4 hats out there and Boise State wasn't one of them?
Yeah, I already had the NLI, so I wasn't worried about that.
When you recruit that many defensive backs, is it hard to keep them all? I mean, do you kind of have to sell them on anything, knowing that there's going to be so much competition, or is that something that they thrive off of?
You know, these all are competitive guys, and so they knew how many we were bringing in. They'll all tell you, we told them the exact number when they came on the official visit. We showed them the depth chart and exactly how it was shaking down. And so, you know, we want competitive guys. And, you know, if you're not competitive and you don't want to play against competition, then Boise's probably not the place for you. But these guys are all in. You know, it's funny because you talk to them on Twitter and they all talk to each other. So they were all in cahoots. And so I'm excited about getting them down here. It's really a special group of guys. This whole class is truly. You know, Darian Jackson and Matt Pistone was on their trip and they hit it off. So I'm excited about this class, and I know our staff is, and it's a great day to be a Bronco.
It's hard because there's 8 of them, and so can you give us a quick, you know, kind of a quick little bite on the 8 guys, what it was you liked about the 8 guys?
You gonna give me the names?
I can, yeah.
All right.
Blair.
Ladero, he's an athletic kid. You know, he's played a lot of different positions and made plays. Me and Coach H saw Ladero in the spring do some DB drills and call Coach Harsh from practice. So we saw some movements that we really, really liked and called Coach Harsh and wanted to give him a scholarship. And so Coach Harsh was on board and glad we got him.
Forward.
Raymond, you know, again, he's a competitive guy. He's a kid that went to Washington State, obviously came back to junior college, was first team all-league, led his teams in interceptions, played at outstanding high school, and so he's physical, and, you know, he's already here, so I love that.
Jackson.
Darian, he's a kid, you know, he had a lot of offers. A kid coming from Texas, was committed to Texas Tech at one time, had Kansas State and Kansas, you know, comes from a great family, and he's a fast physical player, and so you guys will love him. He knows one speed, and it's 100 miles an hour.
Miles.
Cam, obviously had a great relationship with Coach Yates from A&M. I had the chance, you know, to go visit him at Butler when I was down there, and shoot, we brought him up, and he's smiling. And again, another guy that's already here. That's an experienced guy, so can't wait to get him rolling.
Roddy.
Donzel, you know, he was a kid committed to Utah, a great athlete. You see him move around, comes from a competitive family, you know, and so the kid's athletic, he's tough, and we like the tools that he has. Tyler, he's a longer corner than what we've seen around here, so he's a true 6-foot corner, and he's a competitive kid, you know, has great ball skills, has played the position for a long time. And so he's competitive, and, you know, I can't wait to get him here.
I think you guys listed him as safety today, but he's going to play corner.
Tyler Horton?
No, oh, I'm sorry. Other Tyler.
Evan.
Yeah, okay. Evan Tyler.
Evan. Yeah, Evan's a long, athletic guy. You know, he's 6'2.5", 6'3". A track guy, ran 48 1/4 as a junior. And, you know, his dad's a DB coach, so he's grown up being a safety. So he's a free safety that's athletic, long, George Iloka type body, and so we're excited to get him.
And Damian Wright.
DJ was a quarterback that also played DB, and he's physical, and so he's gonna run downhill. He's a kid that committed to us during the summer. He had some other kids come up to him, and, you know, he just held firm. He knew what he wanted to do. He's a great kid, great family, and so I'm excited about him.
Any good stories from the road? Any any adventures out there?
A whole lot of flights. So, you know, it was a lot of flying, but at the end of the day, you see these kids and you talk to them today, and, you know, it's all worth it. But it's been really, really good. You know, it's been really, really good. So.
What was the last couple of days like for you with Tyler Horton, with some of the other offers that were coming in? Were you getting nervous at all?
No, I really wasn't. You know, it was a kid I talked to every day. Like I said, he pulled a prank on me today. We got his NLI last. And I think he did it on purpose. But, you know, it was one of those things. I knew we would get him. You know, the kid said all along this is where he was going. He called me after every school offered him and told me exactly what was going on. And, you know, the one thing I think it shows about his character, you know, because you get a Miami, you get a Florida, you get these schools, and you look across the country, kids are committing to schools they've never been to. But Tyler held firm. He knew what he wanted to do. His family held firm, and shoot, we're excited we got him.
But today, the other 2 guys today, I mean, I know you guys knew ahead of time as well, but was there any suspense at all, or were you guys pretty confident today that all 3 of those guys were headed your way?
We were confident. Obviously, you never know until you get the paper. But we were very confident because we've been in constant contact. So it wasn't like that these kids were committed to us. We hadn't talked to them, and they were getting all these offers. You know, we talk to them every day. And I think that's the one thing our staff does, is we do a great job as a staff of really just relating to the kids and building that relationship. And so, you know, we've gotten the compliment over and over. You know, when our staff comes in, it's not like a coaching staff, it's like family. And to me, I take that with a lot of pride because we go in and we're ourselves. And, it paid off for us. So I'm excited. I hope Bronco Nation is excited. I know Coach Hart is excited. He gives us the blueprint and he turns his coaches loose to go do what you have to do. And so, I know he's pleased with this class, and now we just have to get them in August, and hopefully they can play.
Hart was saying when you guys were making that blueprint that you guys were all very specific this year in what you were going to attack and go after. So when they put so much emphasis on recruiting that many guys for the secondary, what kind of went through your mind, I guess?
No, we knew what we needed, and it's just one of those things, you know what you need, you identify it, and now you just got to go get it done. So, our staff was great. Obviously, having Coach Yates as a DB guy is great, and so when you go and see a lot of DBs, me and him are able to separate and kind of go different ways. And then there was times where we were together going to see these guys together, so we were able to cover a lot of ground, and then you got Coach Avalos and Coach Caldwell. They were able to also, one week, if I couldn't get there, Coach Yates couldn't get there, they were there seeing the kid, and so it was really a team effort. I think our whole staff, all 9 guys and counting Coach Hart's 10, we just did a great job of identifying what we wanted, and we're lucky to land these kids.
I know that last year, or it's probably hard to tell until you really get these kids on campus and in the program for a little bit, but last year it seemed like kind of an obvious Dylan Sumner Gardner was going to play in the secondary. Is there anybody that's close to that this year maybe?
You never know till you get them. Obviously you got Cam Miles and Ray Ford who are already on campus. That's junior college guys who played in college. But now some of these high school kids have some tools too, and the one thing we told them is we're going to play the best players. And so, if they're coming in and they're ready to play, they'll play. If they're not, they won't. But I'm excited to get them because the one thing about them is they're physical and they're competitive. And so let the chips fall where they may.
The 2 JUCO guys, obviously usually JUCO guys come in expecting or looking to play right away, and Coach Yates was saying obviously that's the hope if they can play up to that level. But having those 2 guys here for spring, how much will that help, and what are your expectations for them going into this year?
It'll help them pick up the system. I mean, if you look at Dylan Sumner Gardner, he was here last year during spring, and he was so much further along in August than he was in March. And so they'll get a jump on the scheme, but these high school kids, they'll also be studying the playbook and get some things. And so, I think all these guys are competitive again. They all have a chip on their shoulder, and, it'll be some kids coming here ready to compete, and, we'll have some guys back there who are able to make some plays, and, it's exciting times. Again, you have to get them in August and see what they can do, but we are happy where we're at right now.
I think I got here late after you talked about Jackson, but I think he had 7 touchdowns, and none of them were on offense. What'd you like about Darian Jackson?
He's a fast, physical player that knows one speed. And if you watch his film, he goes 100 miles an hour. And so he was a kid who we identified. We want to be a fast, physical defense, and he brings that. And then when the guy gets the ball, he just makes things happen. So, he can score in many different ways. And if you look at a lot of these guys, a lot of them scored a lot of touchdowns. So we're excited. Hopefully they can score for our team.
Do any of these guys have a chance to get some reps on offense? Or?
They're DBs. We signed 8 DBs. We gave them Chaz. I mean, what
and Spurbeck before you got here.
Look what you started.
Fair enough.